This is a HeadGum podcast.
Oh, baby, welcome to another episode of Why Won't You Date Me? A podcast where me, Nicole Byer, was trying to figure out how I was still single, even though you could come on chocolate and tell me that it's those candies called snow caps.
Oh. Is that what those little white things are?
I think that's what they're called. Do you guys know what they're called?
They're called snow caps, and that's the worst candy.
They are the worst candy.
Why are they so bad? It's not that I'm against dark chocolate.
Well, the little white things, what are they?
Yeah, snow caps.
Thank you.
Who are snow caps for?
I don't know, but they're for somebody because I love goobers. Have you ever had a goober?
Goober's chocolate covered peanut, right?
Yes, without the hard shell like an M&M. And they used to sell them at the theater.
Yeah,
Now
goobers.
I can't find them anymore.
Well, I'm going to say I was never a big fan of goobers.
Nobody likes goobers.
Sorry.
It's really upsetting.
But you know what I do love that's equally gross, like in that way? Not that you said it was equal. It was gross.
No, it's gross. Nobody likes them.
I like Raisinets.
Ew.
I like Raisinets.
That's really upsetting
I'm embarrassed
to me.
about it.
Because that's just a chocolate covered raisin, right?
Yeah.
Wait, I have to introduce you.
Oh, sorry.
My guest today is a legendary Emmy-winning comedian, actress, writer, and producer who hosts the weekly podcast, and you can catch her live in it doesn't say what the weekly podcast is.
It's called the Sarah Silverman Podcast.
That was humiliating for me. I'm just reading, and I was like, what? Why doesn't it have the complete things?
I don't know.
Mars. Oh, wait, was this Lindsay?
I don't know, but heads are going to roll.
Is it because her name is the title of the podcast?
Right, just
so
type
it's
in
like
Sarah Silverman
yeah.
Podcast, and that's literally the title. I think many years ago, I remember Jimmy Kimmel just saying, like, whatever you name something, they're just going to call it the Sarah Silverman or the Jimmy Kimmel. So just name it that.
I mean, that's what I did.
I don't know.
I do have a title, but I say with Nicole Byer.
Yeah. No, but this is very catchy, hooky, but also, I don't know what the current situation is here.
Well, the current situation is I can't date anybody because I am dating somebody.
I mean, I heard you say,
Got to keep it fresh. Got to keep the people informed.
Listen, I want to know everything about it. I don't know anything you don't want to talk to just go like this.
Well, I
love.
I haven't spoken to. Wait, I haven't finished your intro.
Sorry. Oh my God, please. The people don't know what I've done and what's going on and what's going to happen.
Well, what's going to happen is you can catch her live in a city near you on the post-mortem tour. It's Sarah Silverman!
And I just bought sarahsilverman.com.
This is huge. I don't have NicoleByer.com.
For all these years, I was just like, I'm not paying money for my own name. I just did it. And now it's so easy to go. You can get your tickets at sarahsilverman.com. You don't have to remember some weird thing with / dot, blah.
Mine's weird. It's NicoleByerWasTaken.com.
That's
Nicole Byer
brilliant.
was taken.
Nicole Byer was taken, and now she is taken.
I am taken. He's really nice. He's a nice boy. I haven't really spoken too much about him because he's not a comedian and he's not in the industry and he's like a rather private person. And he said the sweetest thing. He was like, you can say whatever you want about me because I trust you. I trust you to not say things that you shouldn't say. Or he didn't say that. He was just like, I just trust you. And I was like, oh my God, you trust me? Like one night I asked him, I was like, if I became a table, would you keep me? And he was like, what? I was like, if you came home and I was a coffee table, would you keep me? And he was like, do I have to feed you? And I was like, no, I'll steal food from the refrigerator when you're not home. And he went, yes, I would. I would keep you. And I was like, oh, that's nice. And he's like, and I try to like figure out how to make you not a table. And it was the nicest thing. I'm like crying.
It's so sweet because he just went along with it with you.
And I've dated people who'd be like, what are you talking about? And very quickly he was like, oh, you're just talking because you like to talk and you like to come up with weird things. I'm truly like crying. Oh,
But just somebody who can chill with that.
Yes.
And not be like, but you're not a table. Why are you even talking about that? Because I'm a creative and I need to like constantly be
weird.
Yeah.
Because then I pretended to be a table for a while.
Well, that's kind of the doggy style position, I hate to say.
It is. But there was no sex happening. Wow, it really just occurred to me that I could have made that sexy. And I didn't. I was just like, I'm a table.
But he yes-anded you.
He did, which is really nice. It's nice. Are you dating?
I am. And I am dating a comedian. But he also is like, could you, if you're going to talk about my pubes, could you ask me first? And I was like, oh, God, I didn't even think about it. But yeah.
That is funny. I also didn't think about it. I was dating somebody else a couple years ago, and I didn't ask them before I started talking about them on stage, and then talked about him on stage while he was like holding my purse and standing at the back of the venue. And it wasn't the kindest joke. And then he was like, I don't want to like take away from the comedy stuff. And I know you want to talk about funny things, but like, we haven't worked through that problem yet. And I was like, yeah, exactly. A problem. It's not a funny thing. I'm trying to work through it.
Oh yeah.
through my brain. But then I was like, oh yeah, you didn't ask for this. So I have to be like nice about it.
But were you saying things that you hoped he would internalize and then correct?
Yes. Which is not healthy.
Yeah, I guess.
How do you navigate that? And you guys met playing Call of Duty?
Yes.
That's fun.
It was, the pandemic happened, and as soon as I was in New York in an Airbnb because I was there for work, which immediately got canceled. And so I went to a GameStop and said, well, I'll just I bought a used console and one game and some headsets. And I go, I'll just learn this for the next 3 weeks, thinking that's the longest it could be. And then I started playing Call of Duty World War II. And I posted
Wait, had you played before?
No.
Oh, wait, this is very funny.
It was a lot to learn. The last I played was Nintendo 64, GoldenEye, which I loved. So it was all new buttons, all new things. And then I knew him a little bit, but like I didn't remember what he looked like. And he texted and was like, he direct messaged me and was like, I play that, do you have headphones? And I go, yeah, but I don't know how to use them, And then he talked me through it all. And every night we would play at 7:05. And
why 7:05?
Because at 7:00 everybody goes out on their fire escape and hits pots and pans for 5 minutes.
That was the wildest thing I think of the whole pandemic. Like, I know people passed, it was very sad, but then like after people had to watch people die and work like a 12-hour shift, they then had to go home and hear people making noise.
Well, when you put it that way, Nicole, it felt like connection because everyone was inside.
Yes.
And now everyone's outside
in New York.
just kind of going like, I'm here, we're together, we're making it, so it was kind of beautiful. But when you say that, I mean, like some nurse ends their shift, like.
And they're like just going home being like, today was a hard day. And it's like, clang, 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 clang. And you're like, okay.
I know we're overreacting, but it sounds like people are literally just hitting pots and pans.
But I do get it. In New York was wild because I had a couple friends who were in New York during that time. And like I had one friend who walked past like a freezer truck every day. And I was like, oh my God, that sucks. And there was two. So it was like she was on this corner and there was one here and one there. So she like couldn't really avoid it.
One had bodies and one was a Mr. Softy.
And she was like, I like the bodies. Your tour is called Postmortem.
Yeah. Speaking of dead bodies.
And is it about your parents?
Yes.
I mean, I feel like there's such a fine line between comedy and tragedy.
Definitely.
Because both my parents are dead too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. And I'm sorry about your parents.
Thank you.
And it sucks. It sucks so bad. But like the only way I have found to get through it is like by laughing. And I do things I didn't realize I do. Like almost every person I've dated for longer than a month is like, oh, on our first or second date, you're like, mom's dead, dad's dead. Like, which is like unhinged if you have parents who are living, because it sounds like I'm being flippant about it. I'm just being like, oh, I'm putting up a wall. Please don't ask me about this. I'm telling you that they're gone. I'm trying to be funny about it. I don't want you to ask me about them.
Well, you're immediately taking care of their feelings by making it, minimizing it.
That too. Huh, how wild.
Yeah.
How do you think?
Because you know what? Our whole lives is trying to make people not feel uncomfortable in our presence, I think. Don't you think?
Wow. Yeah. Yes, because when a joke bombs on stage, I immediately go, why don't you like me? And I'm really sorry I did that to you. How can I fix this?
I mean, like, looking, being like a detective in our own lives. Like, I know that, like, growing up in New Hampshire, we wouldn't have felt Jewish if we didn't grow up in New Hampshire because our parents weren't religious, but we were just, like, Jewy. But there weren't other Jews. So they were so aware of it that there was an unspoken thing when I would sleep at friends' houses where I just feel like looking back, I couldn't have articulated this or known I was doing this at the time, but it was like my job to make my friends' parents not afraid of me, and just be like, and be extra nice, extra funny, affable, easy, because it was very. I remember everyone's parents would be like, are you from New York? And I'd be like, what's New York? I'm from here. I am born and raised in New Hampshire.
That's where all the Jews are from.
And of course
New
that's
York.
what they thought. Because now they're like, they were probably 30 and that they lived in New Hampshire their whole lives. And they know from movies and television that Jews are from New York. And it turns out they are. Like, I moved to New York when I was 18 and I was like, the first time I felt like I was home. I was like, oh my God, I am from New York.
This is funny because I never thought about it because people would be like, where are you from? I'd be like, Jersey. And they're like, no, where are you really from? I'm like, Jersey. I think they're asking where my people come from. And it's never occurred to me till right now. And that's very funny.
Yeah, they wanted you to say
old.
like Namibia.
Wait, this is am I going to start crying again? My mind is blown. It really never occurred to me that that's what people were getting at.
And I bet you spent a lot of your life making people comfortable.
Oh, absolutely. My mom once said to me, which maybe not the kindest thing, but she was like, when I'd be like, oh, I have a crush on somebody, she'd be like, well, don't like them too much because they're probably not going to want to take you home to their mom. And I'd be like, just because I'm black, because I grew up around a lot of like nice whites. They were.
You probably grew up around a lot of Jews.
Yes.
You went to like bar mitzvahs and stuff.
Yes.
I never did. I didn't know any Jewish people.
That's so funny to me because growing up, I went to a ton of bar and bat mitzvahs. We had off for every Jewish holiday. We went to school very late, like late into June because we had off for all the Jewish holidays.
Oh my God. Very different experience.
Yeah, it's wild to me. And then I always thought Jewish people were white people because all the white people were Jewish.
Yeah, in Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then later I was like, oh, okay, it's different. But yeah, it's very funny that we've had such different experiences with Jewish people because there are so many. And they're nice.
Yeah. And yet there aren't.
What
there
a
so
wild
many in
sentence
New
I
Jersey.
just said. And they're nice.
They're all nice. They're one thing.
They're a monolith and it's a nice one. So what was dating like when you were in college?
I lost my virginity to a comedian who's now basically a white nationalist.
Oh, that's always fun. Was he at January 6th?
No, he's way too lazy for that. But
that's the funniest insult.
But I think he did have a tour called White Guys Matter during the BLM movement.
Wow.
Yeah. He's got a pretty big audience.
Wow.
There's an audience for that, it turns out. I don't know if
I have a theory about it.
Go on.
I don't necessarily think all of these people who lean towards the right in their comedy actually believe that. I think they don't think their life is going to be changed no matter who's in office. I'd rather just make money. I don't really care about the optics or the repercussions of what I'm doing.
100%. I think, they have no good comedians. So if you are at all can put a joke together, you'll be the biggest comic.
You can read a prompter. They're like, yay. It's so curious to me because, I mean, I don't know. I could talk about it all day. It's so strange.
Well, it's just interesting because people go like, well, I can't say anything anymore. Whatever. It's like, no, you can say anything you want.
You want.
You should have myriad words at your,
Mhm.
I have no words right now.
At
You're
your
like, there's so
disposal.
many ways to express yourself, but you want to say this, but fine, you can. And you could even get a big audience doing it, but like they all go like, well, I feel like they're going like, well, Anthony Jeselnik gets away with it. Yeah.
Because
brilliant.
he's so funny.
Yeah.
And has a
brilliant.
take on it. Because I say this to people all the time. I'm like, Jeselnik is one of the most offensive comedians I've ever seen, but he is so funny.
If it's
and
funny
it's not
enough.
punching down. It's just, it's
Never.
like, just his brain is like different. And the things he comes up with are so funny. And I do think you could talk about anything you want as long as it's original, you have a take on it, and you're saying something. Or maybe it's just goofy, but like you're not hurting anybody and I don't know. I just.
Like he isn't hurting anyone, and he's so hardcore. So
Mhm.
it's possible. It's possible to do it. So
I
don't act
agree.
like, if I can't say this fucking shitty word
Yeah.
and like cut people to their core, then I can't do, listen,
Yeah. Without
Yeah.
naming names, there's like a couple of comedians where they're just like, I'm not apologizing for things. And I'm like, okay, that's fine and good. But like, defend the joke. Tell me what was funny about it to you. And
Right.
then I think if you had to explain what the joke was, I don't think you would even find it funny. I think you would have to come down to like, it's just shock value. That's what the funny part is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sarah, this state of comedy is so wild.
Yes, it is. You can't even be funny anymore. I don't know. Jim Gaffigan doesn't have a problem with it.
No, there's so many people who simply
you seem
don't
to get by
have
just
a problem
fine.
with it.
And like, we can't. I know a bunch of guys that made a whole movie about how there's no freedom of speech anymore. You made a fucking movie.
You made a movie,
and it came
That's the
out.
definition of the freedom of speech.
And you're
It's
loaded.
so confusing.
Yeah.
Oh boy, wow. Do I have to take a break? Oh, there is a clock. I should take a break.
We'll be right back.
This show is sponsored by Betterhelp. I want to thank somebody in my life. Share some gratitude about my therapist because she's great. This month is all about gratitude. And along with the person I just shouted out, there's another person we don't thank enough, ourselves. It's sometimes hard to remind ourselves that we are trying our best to make sense of everything in this crazy world. That isn't easy. This world's not easy. And here's a reminder to send some thanks to people in your life, including yourself. So therapy is a good way to thank yourself and be nice to yourself and be kind to yourself. So if you're considering starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. That's important. Finding a good therapist is kind of like dating. If it doesn't work the first time, try again. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/dateme today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/dateme. And we're back. Okay, so after college or after the 4 years you spent in New York, how long did you stay in New York?
I was in New York for 6 years
Okay.
in a row.
And in a row.
Well, I mean, then I like moved to LA, but I'd go back a
Oh,
lot
I
and
see.
stuff.
You're
But I don't have a
bi-coastal.
place there, shockingly. No, I just always have to I either stay at a hotel that I always stay at, or I stay
Which
at
hotel? Oh, wait, you don't have to say it. I
Yeah.
will say my favorite hotel was the Gramercy Park Hotel, which is since closed.
that closed?
Yes. And they have like a fire sale, and I couldn't get to New York in time to go, but they like sold everything, beds, lamps.
They're closed?
Yes, they closed.
I love the smell of that place.
Same. I stayed there enough because I would just request to stay there, and I knew it was like kind of expensive, but I was like, if they want to pay for it, they can.
Yeah.
And I got to know the doorman there. I won't say his name because that seems rude. He didn't ask for it, but like we follow each other on Instagram.
And did you get a key to the park?
Yes.
Oh.
So I would just sit in this like park alone and just like be one with nature. And then this lovely doorman would be like, how was your time? I'd be like, really great. And he'd be like, when do I see you again? I'd be like, I think I'll be back in a couple of months. He's my good friend. I love him.
I mean, when you stay at, our whole lives are at hotels. And so especially
Yeah.
near, I know all the doormen at this place where I stay and everything. Even like a million years ago, once we were laughing so hard because it was reported in the Post that I was like yelling at the doorman, which I was, but it was a bit that we always do. Where I go like,
so
nobody opened the door for me when I walked in, and I like have a huge fit, but it's a bit we always do. And then when we made it. I mean, obviously it didn't look good, but I didn't care. It was so funny.
That is, it's really funny. You're like, I look horrible in this, but like my bit killed. People believed it.
It was just like reported, like, in like one of those little Cindy Adams things. But it's just like, oh my God, our
Look
bit.
at us. Our bit killed. We're at page 6.
Well, also, it's just like proves that when jokes are just transcribed and then shown to the public, like, isn't this terrible? Yeah, it always looks bad.
It's very bad. So when you were in New York, did you find it easier or harder to date? And did you think dating out here in LA was easier?
I feel like I haven't really dated much, like gone on dates. I could probably count on one hand, like going on a date. I mean, usually it's just like I hook up with a comic and it lasts like 2 or 3 years, but I'll stay in something like until it's thoroughly exhausted with one foot in for like years. But I mean, this one, baby, is real and the final one. But I'm like, he's watching right now.
This one, oh baby,
this one
this
is
one's
special. No, he is. But I mean, I don't know. I've dated mostly comics, which is probably a bad idea.
I don't think so. Wait, so people haven't like slipped into your DMs to be like, hey, Sarah, I could rock your world.
I definitely have. I met one boyfriend we met on Twitter, but he's like a comedy writer and and I mean, I'm pretty much still good friends with everybody, all the comics I've dated, because you see them forever for the rest of your lives.
Forever. No one tells you this, that if you sleep with people that you're going to see consistently, you might be in a room with 5 people you've hooked up with, and you're like, well, this is hell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But, I mean, especially when I was coming up, but the male comics, they fuck just as much, but they're fucking servers and like people on the road and fans. And it's just like women tend to be more attracted to people who are passionate about what they're doing and like, that they think is creatively, brilliant or like at the very least an equal, like, I mean, that sounds shitty. Like, I'm not saying a server is an equal. I'm just saying they're maybe not where they want to be in life. I think straight guys tend towards people who are not where they want to be yet in life. That's a perfect fit for them.
Male comics love a chuckle fucker. They love someone who's like, oh my God, you're so funny tonight. Your set was like slightly different tonight than it was last night. Do you want to like, I don't know, get a drink? And then they're like, oh my God, she listened to my set 2 nights in a row. And it's like,
and then they're always like, she gets it. Oh, does she get it?
God, it's so funny. When I speak to like female comedians, I feel like mostly all of them are like, no, I don't really have chuckle fuckers. Sure, somebody will compliment me after a set, but like nobody's like throwing themselves at me. Although I think I talked about this. Did I talk about this man at Comic-Con?
It might have been off pod.
Oh, okay.
Go on.
I did a panel for Comic-Con, and then afterwards, people wanted to take pictures, which is very nice. And then also they wanted my my cue cards, which I thought was a strange thing.
That like the thing that you put your camera on and it.
So I had these little index cards, not cue cards. Sorry, they were like little index cards that I was reading
your
off
notes.
of my notes. Yes, and people were like, "Can I have them?" And I was like, "I think so." And I was like, "But why do you want them?" It's what I had to say, and you heard it. Whatever. And then this one man was like, "Can I have one?" And I was like, "Sure." And he was like, "Also, I'm shooting my shot with you. Can I take you out?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm into that right now." And he was like, "Well, how about I DM you? And then you think about it." And I was like, "Oh, I think I'm okay." I also didn't want to be like, "Oh, I'm dating somebody."
But also, for us, it's terrifying.
A little.
For a straight guy with like a 18-year-old girl who's like, "You're amazing." It's not scary. They're not worried, like, are you going to kill me and cut me into pieces?
It is funny that that's the thought process, because I was like, oh, he's a pretty big dude. And I was like, things went wrong. I don't think I could.
Of course, that's the first thing that's our survival. I mean, like, the first thing you have to think of is he going to kill me?
Which is wild. I have a joke about that where I took someone home because I like looked him up and down. And I was like, oh, I think I could take him. And then I said it to him later. This isn't part of the joke, but I said it to him later. I was like, oh, the reason why I invited you home is because I thought I could like kill you if things went wrong. And he was like, oh, I'm much stronger than you. And I was like, no, I don't know. You're pretty thin and weak. So then I was like, okay, try to overpower me. And then he did it. And I was like, oh, no, I made a grave mistake. You could have killed me. But it is wild that that's what you have to think about like all the fucking time.
Yeah. I think like what we're attracted to tends to be like someone who could kill us, but won't.
He's going to be very nice.
He's so nice.
Mm-hmm. When I am touring and traveling, if I get a weird vibe from the town, I won't go out. Like, I won't even get a drink anywhere. I'll go right to my hotel room. And I don't think men have to deal with that.
Of course they don't. And they get to go out and have fun and not be frightened and, you know, I mean, not to be so binary, but I mean, I remember Whitney Cummings.
You know, I'm always confusing the two.
They're so alike.
They're so alike. Beautiful voices.
She said something it's just so true. And it's, you know, like guy comics, they don't realize that like walking to our car after the set is scary
Mm-hmm.
every single night, you know, like,
yeah,
it's not something that ever has to occur to them.
I was on a show called Girl Code years and years and years ago. And one of the promos I had put out was two comedians who I find very funny. And in the moment, it probably seemed really funny, but they were like, yeah, I'll follow a girl. If I think she's cute, yeah, I'll follow her, see where she's going. And I like called one of the producers and I was like, you have to remove that from the show. And they were like, but it's funny. And I was like, I understand why you think it's funny because those are your friends and they're making a joke. But there's people who are watching who will like feel validated in like their weird behavior. So I was like, I don't think it's okay to put that out even as a promo. And I just like had to talk for so long for them to be like, oh, I actually think you're right. And I was like, yeah, of course I'm fucking right. I'm a woman.
Yeah.
And I have felt scared at times. So like, just listen. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, this world, it's not fun and it's not getting better. Maybe we should all just go to sleep forever, which I say to my therapist a lot.
And your therapist is like, you're healed. I do.
You passed therapy.
I love sleep so much. And
Me
I have a
too.
very active sleep life. And I have to be there a lot.
Mm-hmm. Me too. I love sleeping. But I can run on no hours of sleep. I can sleep for like 3 hours and like live for like a week. But then at the end of the week, I have to sleep for many, many hours.
Right. A big sleep.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. If I go and go and go, I need a big sleep, like a 20-hour in bed.
Yes. And people don't get that. But I'm
No,
like,
they
I'm making up for lost sleep. You've toured for, how long have you been touring? How long have you been doing stand-up? Like 20 years?
Oh, doll. I mean, I'd like to say that, but I first did stand-up when I was 17, but I didn't do it for money until I was 19. So that's 34 years.
I don't know what age is. That
I've been
seems
doing
too
stand-up
long.
for 34 years, and I look this good.
You do look great. I think you look great, and I don't know what age is anymore, but I thought you were definitely younger than what you're implying.
I'm 53.
You did that math so quick, but also you probably just know.
Yeah, no, I just know my age. Yeah. I didn't add 34 plus 19.
I was trying so hard to do it in my head, and it just like wasn't working out for me.
No, you do just put 19 to 20, add 30, add 3.
And that's that new math.
It is?
Mm-hmm. New math makes you do extra steps, but also that's how my brain works naturally.
Yeah, you take the long way, the scenic route.
The scenic route to get to that answer.
A lot of comics do.
Well, Well, I think a lot of us are neurodivergent, which is such a fun word for
We
like,
sure are. Yeah, exactly.
they're like, how can we jazz it up? Neurodivergent. I love the internet. And on Instagram, it shows a lot of conversations between like neurodivergent people and neurotypical people. And I'm like, wait, neurotypical people are boring. They're having a sad time.
They're rare too. I feel like more
Right?
people, I don't know, I guess more people we know are quote unquote neurodivergent.
Yes.
Yeah, which is a nice word. It shows more of a spectrum of the autism scale.
Yes. And I've got that ADHD, baby.
I've been watching Instagrams about ADHD, and I definitely have it.
Yeah, I think more people have it than they realize. But also, if you can manage it without medication, oh boy, you're living a nice time. Because if I
Yeah.
forget to take my medicine, I get a little loopy, which is funny that I'm saying I get loopy, and I present pretty loopy, but
Yeah.
even more loopy. And I can't like do anything. And sometimes I'll be driving and I'll be like, wait, what was I doing yesterday? Oh, I don't. And then like I won't see lights. Like I'll just be driving. It's like not okay.
If I have someone in the car, I'm a terrible driver, and I'm like, I swear I'm good when I'm alone, but when I'm like entertained, I'm in the car talking to someone, I miss every turn. I definitely.
I'm better when someone else is in the car because I know if I kill them, their family won't forgive me. Like they'll be mad at me.
That's an excellent way to guide yourself through life.
Yeah. So like whenever I'm with somebody, I'm like, pay attention. Stop at the stop sign. And then also sometimes stop signs, I'm like, you don't have to stop. This should be a yield.
Yeah. Like there should be a roll through.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Sarah,
I think you're right.
I have a question. Do you have any advice for single people?
Well, you know what? I know this is, I don't know what I think about manifestation, but I do think there is something to it. Like Chelsea Handler made me write down what I wanted in a man.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started dating Rory, she goes, look at that list. And it was all the things, even down to like, I wanted a handyman. I want someone who can like fix things. And oh my God, Rory just, when people tell you like, I'm the kind of person, I'm always in my mind going, no, you're not. You wouldn't have to say it. You wouldn't have to say it. You wouldn't have to tell me. You just would be. But he told me something about himself, and it is the truest thing knowing him. He goes, I'm a dad without kids looking for a lawn to mow. And oh my God, if he isn't. Like, anytime I'm looking for him, he's on a ladder, fixing something, changing the air filter, working on his grass. He has a little patch of grass, and he's always digging out the like parts that are, the dogs peed on and replanting. And then, he went away and he would FaceTime me and say, could you just put the camera on the grass for, like, I'd have to show him his grass so he could see his growth. It's so sweet. He just like, he's like, I got to clean the garage. That he like, his weekend is spent like organizing the garage and his tools. And everything that I would be calling somebody to come fix, he can fix it. It's so hot to me.
That is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Things that are hot to me is like a man who's passionate. And I really, really like, it doesn't matter what you're passionate about. You could truly just like the color green, and you could talk to me about the color green for an hour and I won't get bored because you're so excited about it.
Yes.
And I like cars a ton. I love cars. It's one of my, I used to visit my favorite car. It has since, I think they moved because it's not there anymore, but it was an Atwater, and it was a Volkswagen Golf, which is a hatchback, but it was a pickup. And those don't exist in America. So I think it was driven from Mexico up to here. And I was like, oh my God, he went on a road trip. I was just like so excited. I was like, oh my God, you're seeing new things. And I would go visit it. And I was telling the boy that I'm dating, and he was like fully enthralled with it. And like, at one point he was like, I just really love how much you love cars. Like, it's really fun. And I was like, oh, it's dumb. And he's like, it's not dumb. And I was like, oh. And he just lets me drone on and on and on. And it's just so nice. And then he's got his interest, and I let him drone on. Like, he was showing me like a video game that I truly have no interest in. Not interested. It's very like Lord of the Ringy, very like I don't know. It's like a story game. But he was like explaining it to me and he's like, and that's my son who follows me around. And then there's arrows. And then you scoop this up and you do that. And I was like, and then what? And I'm like genuinely excited to hear more about his son in the video game. It's like a cute little elf who follows this big man around. And I was like, boy, oh boy, never in my life did I ever think I'd be excited about a video game. But I feel like that's what people do to you when you really like them.
It's true. And he's like, I love anyone that is passionate about what they do or about what they're interested in. It's when you find people who are just like not into anything, it's so
confusing.
I'm like, oh, what
do you do?
What's your thing? What do you like?
Yeah.
Even if it's TV, I love TV. That's probably my passion is probably watching television.
What's your favorite TV show?
It changes all the time. Right now, well, I mean, in reality, I'm a Bachelor person.
Okay.
Although this Golden Bachelorette is maybe too sad. But I know, I heard it gets very good. But it's, everybody's spouses have died. But it is funny because the men are like, the sink is broken. They're like fixing everything because they're all it's so different than like with the younger ones. But I'm watching Disclosure on Apple, which is so good. Okay. We just finished episode 3. And I am watching, and I'm not a superhero person, but it's not a superhero show. The Penguin.
Oh, is it good?
Fucking incredible.
Is it the same director as the last Batman movie? Or it's the same?
It's that Penguin character. I haven't seen that last Penguin.
You gotta.
I heard it's really good.
I really liked it. And I don't really like any of the Batmans.
It's that Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
Yes.
Which is, and Rory, and usually I'm the one who says this, but he's like, I think the Penguin is like a Jewish character and they make him look like Harvey Weinstein and like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we Google it and it's true. Like that's the lore is like he's Jewish, but he's in the mob and he's so despicable. And normally I would be like, oh, that's fucking, but I don't know. It's so good. We can't help it. We do think it's anti-Semitic, but we love it so much. It's just so good. He's fucking incredible. That's like so many times when that happens, but it's just when the actor's so good, what are you going to do? He's incredible. The show's incredible. And then that actress, I don't know if I'm saying her name right, but it's like Kristen Milioti.
Oh, yes.
She was in that movie Palm Springs, which was also great.
Which is a great movie.
It was so good.
Oh my God. It's
and they
such
shot a lot of it
movie.
at the Bat Caves.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. That's the cave they go in. She is insane in this movie. She's going to win an Emmy. She's incredible.
Okay. I guess I have to watch
Thrilling.
it.
And she looks, I feel like, just like a little me. I want to play like her mother in something.
Well, pitch it to the somebody.
Dr. Show Business?
Oh my God. Pitch it to somebody.
Hello, Steve Show Business?
Hollywood. We've got an idea. I sound like my my relatives. They'll be like, well, why don't you just do that?
Why don't you go? That's like when
Why
you're
don't
young.
you do that?
They're like, why don't you go on the Tonight Show?
Yeah, just
If
do
you wanna be a
SNL. Do the
comedian.
Tonight Show.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Oh, that's a really good idea. Hello, Steve Hulu. I'd like to have my own show.
I wish there was a Steve Hulu. I wish there was somebody for what everything was named after.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I wish there was the Warner Brothers. I'm sure at one point there was.
There were the Warner Brothers.
But I'd like them to still be 2 brothers.
Yeah.
Or 3.
Well, why can't they be more ma and pa?
I don't know. I think everything should be mom and pa. Get rid of Target. Get rid of Walmart. Bring back small stores. I couldn't think of a single one.
They're all gone.
I'm not sick. I just smoke. It's a really bad habit.
I do too.
Cigarettes?
1 a day.
Really?
I can't. Do you really smoke cigarettes?
Yes.
Oh my God. It's so hard. Even
Nobody-
Teamsters don't smoke
I
anymore.
know. It's bizarre. It's so wild. Like nobody
because
smokes
it's fucking
anywhere.
Stupid.
And it's a bad habit. But I love them.
Forever. And I have close friends that have no idea.
I can cut this out then.
No, it's okay. My parents are dead, so I can talk about it. I have one.
Mine too.
I have 1 cigarette with coffee.
In the morning?
In the morning or whenever the morning is for me. And it's my joy. And like if I'm at a party or something, I don't drink, so I'll like smoke pot and I'll maybe have a cigarette because that's like as a social thing.
What kind do you smoke?
I'm not brand loyal, but I never thought this would be the case because I always hated them, but I smoked Parliaments because that was like the last thing the kids were smoking, and that's where I left off.
I smoked Parliaments for a while. I loved them. Good party cigarette. Perfect bump from the filter.
Oh
Bump
yeah,
of cocaine.
someone said that that's what they would do. They put cocaine in that hole.
It's a perfect bump. But but now I smoke Marlboro menthols, and menthols are banned.
That's right.
In California.
When I was in Tennessee, I bought a bunch of Camel Crushes.
That's what I do when I tour. I was at the Tempe Improv, and as a nice gift, they gave me a carton of cigarettes. And I almost started crying. I was like, this is so thoughtful.
But wait, you smoke Marlboro menthol.
Yes.
But if the Camel Crushes,
I don't like them.
you get to crush a little poison capsule.
Yes. And I don't like them. They're very close to Marlboro menthol lights, and I don't like a light. I want a full body. I want to feel it. It's disgusting.
I love your laugh is like,
I want to feel it.
No, trust us. Smoking's great. It's good.
It's really good.
That sexy rash.
Yeah. It makes you feel good.
Nobody lives forever.
Yeah, do whatever you want. I also had to learn how to smoke. Do you know what I mean? Did it come natural to you, or did you have to learn?
I guess I learned from, it's so funny because my sister and I years ago were both smoking cigarettes outside a hockey rink because I had a boyfriend that played hockey, and some kids walked by and I hid it behind our back. I was like, ugh. And then I go, oh, I don't know. I guess people smoked when we were growing up, everyone smoked. And she goes, yeah, and we smoke. And I was like, oh yeah, right. That's why we smoke.
That is so funny.
She doesn't smoke anymore.
I feel like my parents didn't smoke. None of my friends. No, I had one friend whose mom smoked, and she would keep them in the cupboard with rubber bands on it, and we would just take the rubber bands off and smoke her cigarettes. But then everyone stopped smoking, and I was like, sometimes I really feel like Kristen Johnston's character.
I was just gonna say that when you said that.
In Sex and the City, and she's like smoking, and she's like, nobody smokes anymore. Nobody knows how to have fun anymore. And then she falls out the window. Which honestly, I was like, that is the ultimate fun.
It's so funny. That's exactly what I thought of when you were saying that.
That's how I feel all the time. Or I'll be like, oh, I'm going to go smoke a cigarette. And then people are like, okay.
Yeah. Ugh, gross.
And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. And then you come back and they're like, wow, you really stink like a cigarette. And I'm like, yeah, because I was enjoying my life. Having a nice time outside. I'm really sorry about it. My sister also doesn't like that I smoke. She's always like, when will you stop that? And I'm like, I don't know, probably never.
But I mean, honestly, I've been eating edibles and I'm a stoner, but it's harsh when I smoke weed, but it's not harsh when I have my one cigarette at all.
I think cigarettes are less harsh than weed. My friend gave me a bunch of joints that I was like, ooh, I'm going to smoke these. And they're the strongest joints I've ever had in my whole life. LA weed is just truly a different type of weed.
You can't enjoy it.
I love enjoying a full joint, like a blunt. I like the act of smoking, but here I can do 3 puffs and I'm like, well, I'll never stop laughing. I gotta sit down.
The edibles, because I never really took edibles, and lately I've been eating edibles, and it's great because it's either great or terrible for this reason, but it hits you and you don't go, oh my God, it hit me. You don't realize you're high. And then 10 minutes in, you're like, oh, I'm very high.
Mm-hmm. That happened to me last night. I took an edible and then I think I was detangling my hair or something. I was doing something up in my room. And then I went downstairs and then I was like, whoa, kitchen's pretty far away. And then I literally was like, you gotta keep walking. You gotta make it to the kitchen. And then I got to the sink and I was like, oh, you're so high right now. That's why the kitchen is so far away. What was your advice for single women? Or people?
Did I never say it? Oh, I started saying but there is something about writing down what you want, because we may want something for ourselves that's good, but what we're drawn to is more often what's familiar to us. And that's why we're drawn to people that repeat like dynamics between your mother and you or your father and you because it's familiar, even if it was toxic, even if it wasn't healthy,
Mhm.
even if it was like from, childhood, you were abused in some way, you tend to go towards what's familiar.
That is interesting. I have a history of dating men who either didn't like me or I felt like I had to chase them. And it wasn't that my dad didn't like me. It was, I don't know if he was fully interested in me.
He was withholding, maybe?
Maybe. I just think
You
he
couldn't
was,
get him to see you?
yes. Or rather, he had 2 daughters and he really wanted us to be like Venus and Serena Williams because he loved tennis. And I was like, simply can't do it. And then he was an engineer, so he liked math. And I was like, simply the way my brain works, can't do it. So I feel like since I didn't have his same interests, he then wasn't super interested in me. But then, before he died, he like did come around and was like, I understand that we're different. I was like, I understand that we're different. And then we really bonded and like had a last 2 years were really, really great.
That's
But
great.
I think the years before are set in my brain. So that's what I'm looking for in a man or in a partner. But the person I'm currently seeing just likes me. So I spend a lot of time in therapy being like, well, should I just break up with him because he likes me too much? And my therapist is like, what is that? Let's get into that. She's like, so you want to break up with someone because you feel good? And I was like, yes, because it feels weird and it doesn't
Not
feel
familiar.
right. And I don't know what that is. And she's like, well, it's just how about you sit in being uncomfortable for a little bit and enjoy that this person likes you? Because that might not always be the case. So enjoy it now. And I was like, shit, okay. So now I'm trying really hard to just be like, when he says things that I'm like, that can't be true. I'm just trying to believe him. And I say it out loud to him. Like, if he's like, oh, I really like you. I'm like, I'm just going to believe you.
Yeah, because you have to, this is going to sound corny and eye-rolly, and it is trite because it's like what RuPaul says at the end of his show. Like, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love anybody else? And it's true. If you can't truly love and accept yourself the way you would want if you were to parent your own self, the way you would want to do that, and the way you would want yourself to feel about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was, but then
I got it.
then you're gonna push away someone who loves you,
Mhm.
and you're gonna chase someone that you can't quite get that love from. And until you agree that he's right, that you're
Mhm.
pretty fucking awesome, you're gonna waste it.
Well, it was funny because before I started dating him, I was like, yes, I genuinely love myself. Da, 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 da. But then I realized I like myself. I think I've just learned to accept myself, and acceptance is different than love. So it's like things would happen in other relationships where if I had a friend who said that to me, I'd be like, girl, oh, that simply won't do. But I was accepting it because I was like, well, I mean, if that's the way they want to treat me, then I guess I accept that. And it's like, well, no, if you loved yourself, you wouldn't accept terrible treatment. And now I think I genuinely love myself. But I'm having trouble with can somebody else like that? Those parts about me?
Nicole, you were the whole package.
See, this I know on some level.
Right.
But then sometimes you can talk yourself out of it.
Because little Nicole is not so sure she's
Yes.
worthy of love because maybe her father wasn't able to, because of his own shit,
Mhm.
he needed to see a little version of himself.
Yeah.
And you were you.
And it's wild that your little person inside you is just like, hey, maybe you don't deserve it. And then you're like, oh no, I guess I don't deserve it. And it's like, don't listen to little Nicole. Listen to big adult
You're
Nicole.
the parent. You're the adult.
Yes.
So, it's like I read this quote on the internet, and I don't know who said it on Instagram. It wasn't credited,
Mhm.
but it's so amazing, and you're going to love this, and you need to hear it.
Okay.
You've grown up to be someone who would protect you and defend you as a child, and that's amazing.
I do like that. Because I do like little Nicole. When I think about me as a kid, boy, very funny. Very, very funny. Would I want to have parented her? No. But I definitely would protect her with everything. Because truly One of my favorite pictures of me as a child is me in the background where you don't even notice me, kind of just like frowning. And then it's my sister and a bunch of other people smiling. I didn't like taking pictures when I was little. So I'm like literally making a face where I'm like, oh, I'm not in this picture, but I'm definitely in the picture and I look like I'm haunting everybody. And I was, I'll show it to you after this.
I want to see it.
But whenever I look at it, I'm like, oh, I've been like this my whole life. I have been so strange and so like me my whole life. And that's nice. And I need to like, not need to, but I need to like celebrate it a little bit more. And just feel like I'm weird and that's okay. And the person that I'm going to end up with is going to really like it. And I'm really grateful that I'm dating someone right now who like seems to be very into it.
And you know what? The truth is like caring for yourself takes up less space than hating yourself.
It
and
really
you have more
does.
room for others.
It really does. My mother used to say that it takes more energy to frown than it does to smile. And anytime I've been in a bad mood where I'm like actually frowning, I'm like, wait a minute. And then I'll start smiling. I'm like, my face feels better.
Yeah. Well, as I'm aging, I really think that everybody looks good smiling. But like when I'm like, I used to like if I scowled, I felt like I looked like good, but it doesn't look good anymore on my face.
I don't look good scowling at all, but I think it's because I have a very cherub-like face. So it's like, who wants to see a cherub frown?
Ew, it's
Yuck,
terrible.
yuck, yuck. Also, I saw that movie Smile 2 last night, and
what is that? Her vagina bites
that's
penises?
teeth.
Oh,
I think that's called teeth.
Yeah, teeth.
Smile is it's about an entity that like gets in you, and then after it's in you, everyone starts smiling at you, and then you gotta kill yourself in front of somebody, and then the entity jumps into another person. It's pretty creepy. The first one's like real scary. This one was like pretty bloody. But it was just funny because I went home and I was like, it's so funny how much I love smiling. And I just saw a horror movie about smiling. And then I was smiling last night to my dog and I caught myself in the mirror and I was like, ah! And I just scared myself. I'm always having a really great time all by myself. Wait, Sarah, before we wrap up, will you tell me a little bit about your tour and what people can expect?
Oh, it's called the Postmortem Tour. I'm working on my hour and come out, go to sarahsilverman.com, which I bought for $6,000.
Oh my God.
Worth it.
Will it be $6,000 every year to renew it?
No, it's just whoever bought that domain was like, will you give me this?
The
and for
person
years,
wanted
I was like,
$20,000
not worth
from
it.
me.
Huh?
They wanted $20,000 from me. And I
Yeah.
was like, what am I, a Rockefeller? No.
I waited it out until it was like, all right, how about 6? Fine, you fucking dick.
Honestly, good business. To like, just like look at people and be like, I think they're going to be big. And then buy their name as a .com.
Like, who is it? Adam Curry or Mark? One of the like first MTV VJs when the internet started bought like Coca-Cola.com or just took the domain, Coca-Cola.com, McDonald's.com, all of those.
And then they had to pay him?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I wish I had the smarts like that.
I do not have a brain to make money.
Me either.
I
have a brain to like, I can like keep money. But like things like that.
Yes, me too. I always live under my means because all I am thinking about is old age and wanting to be able to afford cush old ageiness.
Yes. That's what I want. I want to live somewhere nice with a nice, really hot man taking care of me. But also maybe I want to live with a partner and we just bumble around together.
I want to have like a sick old age community of like comedians.
That would be fun.
Where you have common areas and all this stuff, but everyone has their own little apartment too. And then there's like around-the-clock nursing care.
I think what you're describing is like community. Yeah. And I think that's what we're lacking.
Haven't you seen on the internet, there's like 10 like 65-year-old women like buy a sick house together.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way to do it.
I think that's great. I love it. That's what I want.
Sometimes we'll outlive our men.
Yes.
And then we'll
probably.
do that.
Which is sad because I do think women live longer.
Yeah, if they don't get Alzheimer's first.
Oh.
Because that's a mostly women thing. And
It's a girl thing. You wouldn't understand.
They're finding it's like unaddressed menopause stuff because no one's ever researched it.
This is annoying. I just found out that women need more sleep than men because they've only done sleep studies on men. So the whole 8-hour thing is for men. Women need about 10 hours.
I need 12 to 14 hours.
Same.
Or I'm not myself.
Same. On a good day. But like, when I like the weekly, I could do like 6. But then I need to catch up on the weekends.
Yes. Hard.
I'm just doing it wrong.
Come see me. I just realized. Come see me, sarahsilverman.com. I'm coming to a city near you. I'm definitely am. And I need your guidance. I need you guys to like show me where the good stuff is and show me where the not so good stuff is.
Laugh. I feel like some audiences don't laugh anymore.
Do you, sometimes there's a really nice audience that suck because they're just like,
Yes.
it's like, oh, I'm not on TV.
Yes,
like,
I'm here and in person and I need your ha ha ha.
Yeah.
I did a corporate gig and
such good money, such a terrible time.
Yes. It really was. It was an interesting time. I don't want to say bad because it just happened and I loved it. And I'd like to do more.
Yes, me too.
But there was another actor who had come out on stage and he was in a boot and he walked out on stage and went, "This isn't physical therapy." Not the hardest hitting joke, but we all know we're at a corporate gig.
Yes.
We all know that we're here instead of at our desks working. You ha 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 at that man.
Yeah.
You just ha ha ha. Just ha ha ha. But stand-up is different. Stand-up, it's like, I really do want you to tell me what's actually funny and what's actually not funny. But like, sometimes I'll be looking and I'm like, oh, you're just smiling. You're all just smiling. I need an auto, like if it makes
and then you
have
smile, to kill yourself because
ha-ha.
it's smile 3.
I'm just like hitting myself on the microphone. Well, Sarah.
We've said it all.
We have. Honestly, this could have gone longer, but I will let you leave. I have enjoyed speaking with you.
Thank you.
Now
I have to
haven't come up
pack.
speaking because you have to go on tour.
That's right.
To a city near you.
That's right.
Sarah, I ask all of my guests this.
Okay.
I've only missed it a couple times. Would you date me?
Yeah, 100% yes.
Yay! That makes me happy.
Would you date me?
Yes, I would.
Really?
I find you to be very sweet and endearing and very nice.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you.
Fun and funny.
I think you're fun and funny. And stunning. And you smoke. And that's
Just
nice.
one.
Just one. If you like this episode of Why Won't You Date Me, you can like it, you can rate it, you can subscribe, you can give me 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. And if you write me something nasty hitting on me, I will read it. And you can write it to whywontyoudatemepodcast@gmail.com. This says, Dear Nicole, I want to butter you up like a Thanksgiving turkey. I'm talking garlic, herbs, and my grandma's secret seasoning, baby. Then I'll roast you in my bedroom. In my bedroom oven at 69 degrees.
At 69 degrees.
For hours. That will take hours. Until you're juicy, dripping, and ready to be basted. I'll lick you up, tasting every inch until you're trembling, begging for me to stuff you with the biggest drumstick you've ever seen. And when I finally slide it in, you'll be screaming, gobble, 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 gobble. Guess what? I'm coming back for leftovers because, baby, you're a meal I'll be eating for days. Love you. Hope you have a nice Thanksgiving.
This sign off is maybe the best part.
It's really funny. Happy Thanksgiving. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was a HeadGum podcast.